like it wasn't real, you know, it was like it wasn't happening until she was done, because when she was done, she took a silver basin and sloshed it around at the foot of my bed and looked in it. Sloshed around the remains of my child and said, well, I think we got all of it. And that's when I sat there and I thought, it? What have I done? And they quickly just, you know, put away their things and rush, put away the instruments, put away the tools, and left. Her and the nurse left. And the door closed behind me, and they walked down the hallway with my baby in that basin. And that emptiness just set in immediately. What about the rape victim? What about the incest victim who's been violated? And my response to that is, do we want to turn around and violate her a second time? How much hurt and pain do we want this woman to have to recover from? Because that's where we place her when we advise or we counsel her to exercise her right to abort that baby. We're forcing her right into being violated a second time and having twice the amount of hurt and twice the amount of pain to heal from.
Welcome back to the Woman to Woman Show. We're talking about men and abortion and the healing that can take place. Now, can you say the website again, Graham, that you thought was helpful?
The one that I found that really helped me with a direction is called Fatherhood Forever.
Fatherhood Forever.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I don't remember the exact website.
But they can Google it. And we're going to put...
Yeah, Google it. And it is what actually took me ultimately to the Rachel's Vineyard website.
And so it kind of is a resource for programs that are available. And give that phone number again for
the local number is 503-22-HEART, H-E-A-R-T.
For the Bible study program, the evenings. Now, you talk about Rachel's Vineyard. Isn't there a retreat coming up in June?
There is.
Here in Portland.
It'll be here in Portland in June. I don't remember the dates, but
you can go to rachelsvineyard.org, and we're putting that info on the screen too for somebody that wants more information about that.
And as it turns out, Mike and I are both working that one.
Oh, you guys are you serving food on this?
No, we are working.
No, we're on the team.
You're on the team.
Yeah.
So they see a friendly face, huh? Yep. Two friendly faces. Yeah, that's good to know. I think you know, it's great that you're out there helping others, because that's kind of therapeutic too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It really. What I want to do is, of course, get the message out there to young people and older people too, because, you know, so many times the women on the show that are post-abortive said, everyone close to me encouraged the abortion, and then regretted it later also, and they have all the remorse to deal with. And we don't want that to happen anymore. We don't want people misinformed that could be the support person or the person going through it. But, you know, what do you think helps a person, or maybe a multitude of things, but do you think it helps to get information out there on our development as human beings when you see the, you know, when you see the unborn at 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, and no one can ever lie to you and say that's just a blob? Is that something that maybe would be helpful to young people and young men? Or do you think a different approach is better for young men?
Well, I think pregnancy resource centers have shown, just with the ultrasound, often just the realization that this is inside my body. It's a developing baby. It's alive. There's a heart beating. That's been extremely helpful. In terms of classes about actual development, I don't know if that would be very helpful.
Just even to see the picture, I think, means a lot.
Sure.
They're not seeing it. I mean, I don't know. Sure. All of you sat through high school, and I sat through 12 years of high school. I never saw it. College, I never saw it, and yet they're there 6.5 hours a day for 18 years, and they're not, you know, there's a political reasons they're not being told the truth about abortion, I think, in many cases.
Well, I also think even though a picture may be worth 1,000 words, it doesn't have the same import as seeing something, you know, live.
Like the ultrasound.
Like an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just, can only happen with experience Though there are some great shows where they show in utero pictures of.
Oh yeah, the live
baby. They're even doing operations in utero for like spina bifida. They can go in there and correct it early on. And
yeah. Well, you know, either you've been that person yourself, or you've seen the person that's scared in this situation, and you know, you've helped. You know, you saw people in your practice that are scared in their 20s, and you guys were the scared ones as a young person. What can you say to that young person standing there in that absolute gut-wrenching fear moment? And there's, you know, abortion clinic right down the street that says it'll all go away in 10 minutes. I can make it go away in 10 minutes. You know, what argument can you give that young man to say no, say don't do it?
Well, LouAnn, in my practice, I cannot recall a time when the man and the woman were both there. It's always been the woman.
Yeah.
Always. I think that's it's probably just the way we
well,
view
our law kind of sets it up that way.
We
the
sort
man
of view it that
doesn't
way, and I think, especially with young men, if I was going to say anything to a young man today about that situation, again, we already said it once, it is your baby. Mm-hmm. You are the father of this baby. And we think that somehow, since it's, and not trying to discredit the process in women, they're going through the experience, but to say that you don't have any say, I don't believe that.
Right.
And I think the young woman may just be waiting for one person to say, that we can do this somehow. Yeah. We can let this baby live.
Right.
We can do this, and she may not hear from anybody else. I think
right.
You know, well-meaning family and friends saying you're too young for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
all the
you don't have enough money for this. It's
money.
not the right time, and let's go ahead and do the abortion.
You can have children later.
You can always have children later.
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily true, as we know. There's some
no one knows that.
Post-abortive issues with women. Maybe they will not be able to bear children again. So you don't know that to be true.
Right.
I could tell a young man, you know, I have a daughter that's 37 years old. I have never seen, and until you realize that was a person that you terminated, if you want to use that word, and when I come to terms with that myself, it was really gut-wrenching for me. My daughter that could have been so beautiful. I have a daughter and I have 2 sons now, and I know the joy of having a child. And to miss out on that, all those years that I could have had with that child, and tell that person that you will regret this later, because you know that is
about the best way that that 18-year-old needs to hear it. It's a hard one. It's a tough sell in today's world, isn't it?
It is.
And once you get older, you realize it's the 50-year picture, not this week, you know. But you don't know that then.
Exactly. I mean, young people have a different outlook of life. They're immortal. They got infinite time out ahead of them. And you know, as we approach middle age or in middle age, you know, you look back with more regrets than you look forward with. You think, oh, this won't be a problem.
No, this is a thing to do.
Yeah, you know, you can say, you know, you may think you're off the hook. It just got buried deeper with this.
Exchange it for a different hook.
Different hook, bigger.
Oh gosh.
Better barbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask Graham and Mike, did your girlfriends go through anything as far as a healing program that you know of, or have you been in contact over your role now?
I don't know that she ever did. I do know she's married and has 3 children. But beyond that, I don't know. I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
But there's not a way to do that.
Okay.
That abortion that we had destroyed our relationship.
It
was just affairs and just a lot of mean things that between us. Our relationship, because we never said one word between us about the abortion. Never, not one word. And it just destroyed us. We were destined to be destroyed.
Do you think you had the relationship that if you had talked about it might have kept the child?
Yes, and that was also that was our relationship. We were using each other. We were not in a proper relationship to get pregnant in the first place, and so using each other is not the proper way to bring a child into the world, and to even get that far. So,
yeah, that's important. That I think you share the message that everything gets worse when you make this decision. It doesn't get better, and I think that's the message. Wouldn't you say that's
right.
kind of the message that is so important out there, that a big problem becomes a worse problem when you buy into what. And it's so hard for young people because they really want to believe, and you're led to believe, if it's legal, it must be moral. Legal equals moral,
right.
And that's what, is normal to believe. The law protects, the good, and if it's legal, it's good. They're equal, and that's a hard one for people to understand, that you have to go back to slavery and pull that one out to show them, we didn't always get that right, and that's a tough one.
Well, besides being legal, I mean, we also have the healthcare profession presenting this as a viable treatment option, and these are professionals. Why would they share something with us that could be potentially harmful 25, 30 years down the road? Well, they don't know.
Right.
That's why.
Well, you bring up a good point, and while I've got two doctors here, I want to ask you, as healthcare professionals, what is happening do you worry that the value of life for all the vulnerable people can be in jeopardy because of sometimes society thinking that this whole thing of perfection out there, whether it be the frail elderly or the mentally handicapped, physically handicapped, or the unborn, are they all vulnerable, in our society and need to be helped, and looked after? Do you have any perspective on that?
Well, I think that, we see it in certain parts of the world already, euthanasia, and of course abortion, very prevalent. I can see that we could go down there, not having anything to do with this current legislation, but I think that as a society we are getting to be a bit of a throwaway. It's not perfect, let's dump it and try it again. Your guest from the previous
the baby with anencephaly,
chose to go through that and have the baby for a few hours, and as opposed to just saying, well, hit the eject button or the abort button,
it's so true.
Right.
And it's we do need to protect all human beings that are vulnerable, and all human beings have value. And we're out of time, and I just hate that because, I could talk to you guys all day, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you sharing your stories, because it will help someone else, and I know it will, and you really honor those that you love and those that you've helped in the past, and I really thank you for taking the time to help others, because you really are. And I hope that everybody goes to the websites we put on there and gets help, that everybody deserves healing that's been impacted by this, and I think with your inspiration they'll get it, and Portland is blessed to have your stories, and I thank you so much.